Welcome to The Explainer. Have you ever felt like building wealth is this exhausting uphill battle, like it takes massive amounts of willpower and giving up everything fun? Well, it might be time to completely flip how we think about money. What if I told you that financial success isn't about these huge dramatic lifestyle shifts, but instead, it's just the inevitable result of tiny, automated, everyday routines? Today, we're diving deep into the mechanics of atomic financial habits, designing systems to build wealth literally without thinking about it.
Take a look at this number, 37.78. Now, this isn't some crazy stock return or wild new interest rate. It's actually the mathematical outcome of getting just 1% better every single day for 1 year. As James Clear popularized, if you do the math, 1.01 to the power of 365, it equals exactly 37.78. It's proof right there in the numbers that tiny daily improvements, when they compound over time, produce absolutely extraordinary results. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, the 1% rule. Second, cracking the habit loop. Third, automating your financial life. Fourth, breaking bad money habits. And finally, number 5, the beauty of boring.
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, the 1% rule, or the math of marginal gains.
To really grasp this, we have to look at this brilliant story about the British cycling team. Back in 2003, they were, well, laughably bad. I mean, so bad that a top bike manufacturer actually refused to sell them gear because they thought it would ruin their brand. Crazy, right? But then Dave Brailsford took over as performance director, and he introduced this concept he called the aggregation of marginal gains. They didn't go looking for some massive overnight breakthrough. Instead, they just looked for tiny 1% tweaks. They tested different massage gels, literally massage gels, to see which one led to faster recovery. They painted the inside of their transport truck white just so they could spot specks of dust that might mess up the bike mechanics. It sounds completely absurd, but guess what? By 2008, they absolutely dominated the Beijing Olympics and they ruled world cycling for a decade. All from hundreds of tiny, microscopic wins.
So, we know that improving by just 1% daily compounds to a massive 38 times return over a year. But what's really fascinating and kind of scary is the stark contrast of what happens in reverse. If you get 1% worse every day, doing the math of 0.99 to the power of 365, you drop to 0.03. You basically approach zero. And this proves a seriously vital point for us. Financial maintenance is never neutral. Small acts of neglect, those slightly worse choices, the slow erosion of your habits, they compound downward. If you're just standing still while your expenses rise, you're actually in decline.
Moving right along to Section 2, cracking the habit loop and the psychology of behavior.
If we break down the habit loop, we can actually see the hidden machinery behind every single thing we do. It always starts with a cue, some kind of environmental trigger. Now, this trigger creates a craving, which drives us to take an action. That's the response. And that action ultimately delivers a satisfying payoff, the reward. And here's the kicker. Once that reward hits, the loop reinforces itself in your brain, making you so much more likely to just automatically repeat that behavior the next time you see the cue.
And this powerfully illustrates the core truth of this whole explainer. As James Clear puts it, your net worth is a lagging measure of your financial habits. Let that sink in. A lagging measure. Financial outcomes usually aren't about luck or winning the lottery or some grand windfall. They're just the delayed, compounded results of your everyday behavioral systems. Good habits create good outcomes, bad habits create bad outcomes. It really is just that straightforward.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 3, automating your financial life. Or as I like to say, set it and forget it.
So the absolutely crucial point here is taking this psychology and applying it directly to our money. How exactly do we do that? By setting up background systems that literally build wealth for us without us ever having to think about it. Let's walk through some highly actionable micro steps that completely take willpower out of the equation. First off, ask your employer to split your direct deposit. Have a portion go straight into savings before it even hits your checking account. Out of sight, out of mind. Next, set up automatic recurring transfers from checking to savings on payday. Auto-pay all your household bills so you literally never miss a payment or get hit with annoying late fees. Also, try to automate at least a 5% contribution to your workplace 401k to grab that free employer match. And hey, use Roundup apps to automatically save your spare change. You are paying yourself first and it is completely effortless.
You can really think of automation as a digital piggy bank that just feeds itself.
The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau actually points out that saving automatically normalizes good investing because it makes it totally frictionless. You completely remove the agonizing decision-making process. Once it's set up, you're stashing money away without thinking twice, essentially protecting your future self from your current impulse buys.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, setting all this up sounds like a ton of work. But to make these systems truly atomic, you've got to rely on the 2-minute rule. The rule is simple. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. So don't try to revamp your entire financial life on a Sunday afternoon. Just log into your banking app right now and take exactly 2 minutes to set up one single $10 automatic transfer. That is it. Break down the intimidation, start incredibly small, and just get that momentum going.
All right, let's pivot to Section 4, Breaking Bad Money Habits, or Flipping the Script. Remember that habit loop we just talked about? Well, building wealth isn't only about saving more cash. It's also about aggressively dismantling those bad money habits that quietly drain our bank accounts month after month. And to do this, we can flip the script entirely. While you want to make good financial habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying, you have to do the exact opposite to break a bad one. You need to make impulse purchases invisible. Like go unsubscribe from those tempting retail emails so you never even get the cue. You need to make it unattractive, difficult, and totally unsatisfying. Go ahead and delete your saved credit card information from your web browser. Introducing just that tiny little bit of friction makes checking out difficult, which gives your brain time to pause and rethink the purchase.
Another truly amazing tool in your arsenal is temptation bundling. We are humans, right? We're highly motivated by the promise of rewards that give us that hit of dopamine. So, if sitting down to review your budget or balance your accounts feels like a painful chore, bundle it. Tell yourself you are only allowed to watch your absolute favorite guilty pleasure TV show or drink that ridiculously expensive latte while you are reviewing your weekly finances. You're simply linking an unappealing but totally necessary behavior with a highly enjoyable one, and boom, you successfully form a new habit.
Now, if you need to bring in the heavy artillery, you can use a habit contract. This is a written commitment with yourself, or even better, with a partner or a friend, outlining specific habits and the strict, unavoidable negative consequences for failing. Adding this kind of social accountability adds just enough friction to keep you on the right path. For instance, your contract might say that if you fail to hit your automated savings goal this week, you have to donate $50 to a charity or a cause that you absolutely hate. Trust me, that is a massively powerful motivator. And that brings us to our final stop, Section 5, the beauty of boring and the power of patience. We really need to completely reframe our expectations here and embrace a reality that, honestly, a lot of people find surprising. Good investing shouldn't feel exciting at all. Compounding is heavily backloaded. It's much like the sand in an hourglass. The first few months or even years of making those tiny 1% improvements can feel totally invisible. You have to push through what James Clear calls the valley of disappointment or the plateau of latent potential. You know you're doing the hard work, you're saving the money, but that explosive wealth just hasn't shown up yet. You literally just have to wait for the sand in the hourglass to tip.
Honestly, I want to actively praise those quiet, totally uneventful weeks in the stock market. You know the ones? Some weeks produce absolutely no exciting headlines, no scary crashes, maybe just a tiny dip and a quiet little recovery. They are utterly forgettable, and guys, that is exactly the point. Long-term wealth is built in those quiet weeks, while compounding does its silent work in the background. The urge to do something or constantly tinker with your investments when nothing is happening is hands down one of the most expensive instincts you can possibly have. Doing absolutely nothing is actually a massive strategic advantage. So how on earth do we maintain this level of patience? First, value the process way over the final outcome. Stop checking the scoreboard every single day. Second, embrace automated dollar cost averaging, which basically just means you are constantly buying stocks on sale when the market dips without even having to think about it. And most importantly, build the identity of a disciplined saver. Every single time your automated system transfers money behind the scenes, you are casting a vote for a better version of yourself. You're shifting your deep identity into someone who just naturally builds wealth.
Building lasting financial security isn't about making one giant, stressful leap. It's about the aggregation of marginal gains. It's those small 2-minute automations that do the heavy lifting in the background while you're out there actually living your life. So I want to leave you with this provocative final thought. Take a hard look at your bank accounts and your daily routines. Are your current daily automated money habits casting votes for the future you actually